Let the insults and sarcasm begin. You're listening to Raw Mike Richards, heard only on News Talk Saga 960.
News Talk Saga 960. Raw Mike Richards. What we have found out over the last several years, that there certainly is a stigma attached to mental illness. And for some people, you just don't think it really, unless it's a family member. You're not even sure if you've even interacted with someone that you know that might be suffering from clinical depression. Sometimes it's bipolar. And those things can show up in life in different and various ways that, for the most part, I think as a society, we didn't really recognize the symptoms. We didn't know. And maybe that's because those afflicted themselves, they didn't recognize the symptoms of what it was they were actually doing. Now, Esther Herbert is someone I've known since I was 5. I mean, when you are as close as we've been our entire lives, you would think that you know every single thing about this person. So when a couple of years ago, she announces to the world via the wonderful people at Markham Stouffville Hospital that she suffered from mental illness and depression, amongst other things, my jaw hit the ground. Since that time, she has made it a very personal fight and has vowed to talk more about it to end the stigma. She is going to tell us about the Shoppers Run for Women coming up very shortly. Once again, part of the Markham Stouffville Hospital of Mental Health. This is an interview done with this woman who, as you will see very shortly and hear, you're going to fall in love with her.
Suffer from bipolar disorder, and I have gotten well, and I manage my disease through Markham Stouffville Hospital and my doctor and the team there. I've had 18 years of bipolar wellness, and I believe when you share your story, other people will feel empowered to share their story. I want to break down the stigma associated with mental illness because, you know, there is hope, there is help, and it doesn't need to be something that people shy away from and think, oh my, you know, you have a mental illness, I can't talk to you. No, we're talking about it so people can get a feel for what it is to get well.
And getting well is what she has done, and we bring her now to Raw Mike Richards on News Talk Saga 960, the incomparable, the amazing Esther Herbert. Good morning, Et.
Good morning, Michaelis. How are you?
I am great, and you must be very excited. And, you know, people upon hearing this intro, that now, this is a couple times we've done this, that they still probably think, how could I have not known that one of the closest people in my life since the age of 5, how could I not recognize that you were having the struggles that we now seem to sort of understand? But back then, we're talking about the 70s, and you were how old when you started to recognize not what it was, but things were difficult for you. It didn't seem, quote unquote, normal.
Well, I would have to say probably around 15 is when I noticed that I was a little bit different than other people and that I drank an awful lot. I was always trying to kind of mask any of those negative feelings. I also had some thoughts that, you know, were racing, but, you know, as always, hindsight is 20/20. So when you look back and your doctor tells you it hit about 15, it's kind of like light bulbs went off and you go, oh, that's what was happening. But at the time, it was very, very difficult to have any idea what was going on, just something different, something strange. And then, of course, you know, wanting to fit in with everyone and be everybody's buddy, I really didn't want to talk about it, and I didn't. And I think that's where alcohol played such a huge part in my life because it, self-medication, as we've talked about before, really did the job for me. And it was something that I, went on to college and got into all kinds of trouble there. And it wasn't until I was 37 that I was properly diagnosed 19 years ago, Markham Stouffville Hospital. But it was something that, especially back then, it was not talked about. Today, at least the dialogue is open. We're having communication, just like this great show today. It's a different world right now, but I don't think it would have been a different world unless people talk about it. We didn't, and so many people suffered in silence, and I was one.
Well, and it's interesting and apropos that the group that you have got sponsors for the Shoppers event coming up this weekend, you have called them the Stigma Smashers, correct?
That is the name of the team, and I think it is so perfect because that's what we want to do. Whether we are, walking in a race or running, or we're talking to family for the first time, or we're on a radio show, or we're at work. I mean, stigma cannot be smashed unless you talk about it. And I think that's why the name is so wonderful, and I'm just in love with it. And I'm in love with the group of people that are walking with me, many from work. From Brady, where I work, there's 5 ladies that are walking with me, then friends of friends, and the sponsorship I've gotten through, obviously family, friends, but also my work people is just phenomenal. I have to do a shout out to them.
Esther, so good to talk to you. It's been way too long. I was excited that you were on the show this morning. So I do wish you nothing but the best. Tell me more about when you've talked to friends. Like, Mike's mentioned you guys go back a long time, and to have a friend that close is outstanding. But when you've talked to your friends, what has been the reaction from people that you've known forever, and how have they helped you through this? Because this is a daily thing. This isn't something you just kind of, hey, this is what's going on, and okay, well, what about the weather? It just doesn't work like that. It's something that you have to work at, and you are doing a magnificent job.
Oh, thank you, Dave. Very nice to hear your voice as well. I'd have to say that, without the friendships, without the family members that I confide in and talk to. There's my best friend, Anna. I talk to her every day. I have key people at work, Kimmy, my boss, people around me that I will talk to, and they will, just listen, because sometimes that's all you need. And there are days when I'm up, when I'm down. It's a time when you need people, but it's a time you don't want to reach out because you think, oh no, am I going to be a burden? Is it the same story? Oh, I'm having a high today. Bipolar is highs and lows. It's managing the two in between, trying to get that in between ground and maintain it. So, it's going to be a different day, like you said, different story. But if you don't have people you can confide in, talk to, they can pray for you, they can think, great thoughts for you, or they can just say, hey, you're doing great. I mean, sometimes that's all it takes, but you can't have that communication unless you've opened up in the first place. So to answer your question, it's vital to have a circle of friends around you. And my bad for not doing it earlier, but I am very proud of the fact that the people I have opened up to along the way have been so supportive. I just, there's nothing like it in the world. And I encourage anyone with a mental illness to talk to someone. Even if you get a bad reaction at first, do not give up, because there will be people out there that will support you. And then, it's not smooth sailing, but it is something that is manageable. We're
in conversation with Esther Herbert here on Raw Mike Richards, News Talk Saga 960. The event this weekend, this is how many years? Is this 2 years, I think, for you now, is it not?
2 years for me. I believe it's the 3rd year that they're doing it, and it is, I just love this whole thing. It's to benefit women's mental health at Markham Stouffville Hospital programs there. It's one of the fastest growing regions in southern Ontario. They are bursting at the seams. They need funds. A lot of people do, but when you think about mental health and absenteeism in the workplace, I mean, it affects so many people, 1 in 5. I think that's probably a bit low, but you're going to come across that in your circle many, many times. It might be a listener right now. So if we can get the funds together for Markham Stouffville Hospital to have these programs, I am excited to be a part of it. Last year, I kicked off the race with a speech. This year, they asked me if I'd captain a team. I found that very intimidating, and I said right away, no thanks, I can't possibly. Then I thought about it, and I said, I got help at Markham Stouffville. So many people need the help. I can do this. And so I'm doing it, and I'm very excited to do it because this hospital saved my life, and I know it's going to save the lives of many, many other people. Right now, they've got an amazing offer going on from great donors to the foundation at Markham Stouffville Hospital. They're going to match up to $50,000 each group here. There's a lady named Deborah Rada Loria, and the other group is Gulshan Pyareli Nanji family. So if you sponsor me, for instance, today, then give me, say, $20. that means that you're actually giving 60. Thanks to these donors, they'll match up to $100,000. So now's the time. People need help. And I mean, it'll go a long, long way. And I personally know what Markham Stouffville Hospital has done for me. And I'm anxious and excited to know that it's going to do a lot more for other people.
Esther, how do people help out? Because as soon as I hear that, because a lot of people say, you know what, donate 20, we'll match it up to 40, but it's being matched up to 60, which is outstanding. So how can I, as a listener right now, get on the computer or phone, or what do I have to do to donate?
Awesome. Okay, so all they would need to do is go on Facebook and type in Esther, Esther, and then Herbert, Herbert, and put beside it Newmarket. You'll see my picture. There'll probably be affiliation, obviously, with this show on there, but there'll be a link. And all they have to do is click on it. They'll go directly to my page, and any donation, any size is exciting, and then multiply it times 3.
Well, you said you were surprised at being a captain of one of these teams. Now, people should know that you were always a very, very good athlete. And not only that, pretty aggressive athlete from what I remember at Stouffville. You were sliding headfirst into third base before Pete Rose. So you're not exactly the delicate flower. You were as competitive as anyone I've ever known. And now you take all that spirit and all that wonderful energy that you have, and you're also a great person of faith. That's very important to you.
Yes.
And now you've kind of, some people say you're kind of doing God's work. You're kind of being that angel that also has a sword and a shield. So it's not passive. In fact, it's the opposite, which what makes you so special. And I know it does motivate you to help others who maybe even listening now today haven't done anything about it.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much, Mike. This is wonderful exposure, and I am so grateful. Obviously, Stigma Smashers are grateful. The entire Markham Stouffville Hospital. This is an exciting time. This is a great show, by the way, and so many people can benefit from the fun, the information. It's not just for guys. I just tune in every morning on my way to work, and I encourage anybody out there to do that because it's highly entertaining, and you guys are so talented.
You take care, Ed. Good luck this weekend. I know I'll talk to you before that. Say hi to the amazing Dr. Mark Berber, who is your guy.
I definitely will. And Dave, Mike, thank you, and have a great day.
You just got your morning drive back. Raw Mike Richards on News Talk Saga 960 with traffic on the 5s, featuring the best and most detailed West End traffic in the GTA. Raw Mike Richards and traffic on the 5s, exclusively on News Talk Saga 960.